Creative folks were putting hidden references to themselves in the stuff they created long before the advent of video games. Take Rembrandt, for instance, who liked to paint a cheeky little portrait of himself into the background of his paintings. In a tribute to the Dutch master, I'll be hiding my face somewhere in this video. Not this one. Keep an eye out, okay? Similarly, video game companies love to pop a hidden reference to themselves and their earlier work in their later games, and video game worlds offer so many great places to hide an Easter egg that no wonder some of them go unnoticed or unrecognised. Just consider these sneaky Easter eggs that were callbacks to game makers' previous work. Too obvious? Okay.
Hey boy, something I can help you with?
Just waiting for my associate. He's back in town buying equipment.
It's hard to believe that the Hitman series and the Kane and Lynch series are from the same developer, considering that one of them is about an elegant assassin killing only his selected targets in the most undetectable way possible.
No, as I was saying, What was that?
We got him, 47.
And the other, well, the other is Kane and Lynch. Actually, it makes a lot more sense when you watch Mike play Hitman.
Oh, what a way to go. Circumcision knife in the neck. Horrible.
While the games might be quite different in their approaches, the Hitman developers obviously have a lot of fondness for the criminal duo, which led to both Kane and Lynch making a series of Easter egg cameos in the fifth Hitman game, Hitman Absolution. You run into them both twice during your Hitman adventures. Kane, firstly in a bar, where he gets into it with the locals.
Son of a bitch!
And then later, where you can see him writing a letter to his daughter, a scene we've seen before in the intro movie to Kane and Lynch.
My life as a mercenary and all the pain I've caused. Most of it is true. I should regret it all. I should be scared of dying. But I'm not.
Certainly adds a new dimension to this scene, knowing that Agent 47 is crouching in a vent nearby watching. A creepy, creepy dimension.
As you know if you've read the papers, my life as a mercenary and all the pain I've caused. Most of it is true.
Lynch shows up twice as well, first at a firing range where he's displaying the restraint, anger management skills and firm grip on reality that made him famous.
Stop staring at me, you twisted little fairy! Shut your mouth, fairy.
And then later on we get another glimpse of him after shooting an old, still active atom bomb in the lobby of an arms manufacturer, which to be fair, is a very Lynch thing to do.
Against all the evil that hell can conjure, all the wickedness that mankind can produce, we will send unto them only you.
The Doomslayer of Doom fame is a busy dude, what with all the ripping and tearing and, as of recent installment Doom Eternal, first-person platforming. The Doomslayer is so busy in fact that he might easily skip right by this sneaky Easter egg here in the cultist base.
The Hell Priest is somewhere in this facility. I cannot pinpoint his exact location at this time.
Off the edge of the level, dangling from the end of what looks to be a fishing line, you'll find not another demon, but some kind of big green fish. Presumably some cultist or other hooked this freaky fish but didn't get the chance to land it before being busted by a Hell Priest for slacking off. Or maybe they took one look at its goggle eyes and yellowing buck teeth and thought, you know what, I'm not as hungry as I thought I was. Who can say? In any case, this inexplicable giant fish is explicable with a bit of id Software history. See, the makers of Doom have been making video games for a very long time, and 30 years ago they released Commander Keen, Secret of the Oracle. Commander Keen was an 8-year-old in possession of a spaceship, Lucky, and at one point in the game he goes scuba diving in the Well of Wishes. So our child hero finds himself with not even a ray gun to defend himself against the denizens of this underwater level. That's the cue for this gigantic man-eating fish, known to its friends as the dopefish on account of its big dopey face. Hey, the dopefish, maybe you need better friends. Rude. The dopefish's goofy appearance belies the fact that it is an apex predator and will chow down on this small child like he's no more than a rogue goldfish flake. This toothy terror of the deep made a big impression, clearly, because Easter eggs featuring the dopefish went on to become an id Software hallmark, cropping up in several subsequent id games such as Quake and such as 2010's Rage. Not only that, but this fishy green giant was adopted by the games industry at large, with dopefish cameos popping up all over the place in games made by other studios, such as a desk novelty in Hitman Silent Assassin from 2002, and as graffiti in Deus Ex Human Revolution, and as more graffiti in Max Payne. Which brings us back to the dopefish's most recent Easter egg appearance in a cultist base in Doom Eternal, where this iconic character is rendered in more exquisite detail than ever before. And to the unanswered question, what exactly did a cultist want a dopefish for? Oh boy, nothing good.
Watch out!
You go after them! I'll hold them off here! Hey!
Yeah.
Good luck.
You might wonder how the development team formerly known as Free Radical Design went from creating cheery, colourful shooters full of human-sized gingerbread men in the Timesplitters series to being in charge of relentlessly grim and gritty misery sim Homefront the Revolution.
We hit and we run, knowing we won't all come back.
Knowing we won't all come back? You're really selling it to me. If you're not familiar with Timesplitters, it was a series of multiplayer shooters for the PlayStation 2 era consoles built by a bunch of veterans who all worked together on the GoldenEye N64 game. It had similar weapon movement as you turned, similarly compelling split-screen multiplayer, and, a very similar dam level? Hey, if it ain't broke. For years, fans have been asking for a remake of classic entries in the Timesplitters franchise, and finally, in 2016, after many years of emails, forum posts and compelling, well-reasoned online petitions, they still didn't get that. What they did get was an Easter egg that was at least a brief, uplifting moment in the otherwise unending gloom of Homefront the Revolution's campaign mode.
Looks like not all of them made it out. You might as well take his prisoner outfit. He isn't exactly making use of it anymore.
To find this particular Easter egg, you had to head into a location called the Bourse, which absolutely is not me attempting to affect a Brooklyn accent and say the word boss. This resistance safe house is designed to be a secret location where the guerrilla revolutionaries can relax, unwind, and, I don't know, beat the crap out of each other in a cage fight?
Come on. The best you got?
Are the invading hostile forces not doing a good enough job of that? Either way, head upstairs in the Bourse, like a bourse, and you'll find a seemingly derelict arcade cabinet. Interact with it and you'll discover it contains a fully working version of Timesplitters 2's first couple of fun, quirky, time-hopping story missions.
Look for symbols or hidden access points.
Was this a cry for help from the developers? I'm going to say yes. This was a brilliant reminder of the great games this team used to make. Better yet, if you entered a level unlock code, you could access the rest of the missions, even though the Easter egg was only ever designed to be 2 of them. These days, on a modern Xbox, you can play the entire thing in crisp 4K, which is painfully close to the HD remaster that people have been begging for, albeit without the beloved multiplayer mode.
You devil, let go! Let me go!
Once you're done with the Timesplitters 2 levels though, it's right back to the Bourse and another several hours of crushingly depressing traipsing through a war-torn dystopian Philadelphia.
Stay the back!
Forget petitions for another Timesplitters game, I'm starting a petition for no more Homefront.
I believe the main interface is on the rooftop.
I'm looking at the windows. Can I try one of those, Bagley?
Sure, if you can get there. 3 options here. 1, use the window washing platform. 2, find a cargo drone. 3, give up, go home, and resolve to be a better person.
Check.
Ubisoft games are full of sly nods to each other, like how in every Ubisoft game you have to climb a tower and synchronize a viewpoint to unlock more of the map. Okay, I'm just being informed that that's actually a deliberate design choice and not an Easter egg. Still, the different Ubisoft franchises do like to reference each other, as we saw recently in Watch Dogs Legion, the London-set latest entry in the tongue-in-cheek hack-em-up series.
Let's take back London.
While parkour is an element of Watch Dogs Legion, jumping off high buildings and not dying is really more of an Assassin's Creed thing. Still, there does come a point in the story of Watch Dogs Legion where you have to do just that during the mission Gap in the Armor, where you're required to jump off the roof of an apartment building into the river below.
The traps are disarmed. Now, if you go through the front door of the flat, it's much less likely you'll be killed.
Clearly you can't present Ubisoft designers with an opportunity like this and not expect them to take it, because rather than maybe taking the stairs or summoning a drone to helicopter you down to safety, your character will instead gracefully eagle dive headfirst off the roof into the river, accompanied by the classic sound effect. And far be it from me to suggest that Ubisoft is also using Watch Dogs Legion to have a dig at their rivals, but this other Easter egg looks an awful lot like Faith from EA's Mirror's Edge attempted a leap of faith herself, only to have it go horribly wrong. I guess we need a new name for these things if Faith herself can't even do them.
Whatever you do, stay in the light.
Remedy Entertainment, the studio behind such games as Max Payne, Alan Wake, and Quantum Break, loves putting Easter eggs that reference one of its games inside another of its games, like Mr. Payne loves taking aspirin. Early in Quantum Break, for example, you can pause while fleeing through a lecture hall to read a chalkboard covered in notes from apparently a lecture on Alan Wake.
Calm down, okay? I'll take care of this. I'll fight my way through. I'll get the car and I'll bring it around.
These notes appear to be about the plot of Alan Wake, which seems to suggest the novelist protagonist Alan Wake exists as a work of fiction in the time-warping world of Quantum Break. That's all par for the course in the Remedy cinematic universe, where Easter eggs are less like cute throwaway references and more like cryptic clues about the interdimensional interconnectedness of everything.
We're just a speck of light floating in an endless ocean of darkness.
Case in point, Remedy's most recent game, Control, which takes place inside the Bureau of Control, a kind of FBI that only does X-Files. Among the spooky artifacts collected by the Bureau, you can discover a typewritten page from Alan Wake himself, the contents of which imply he's spent the 10 years since his game came out trying to escape the nightmare it trapped him in, and also narrating that nightmare.
It's a hideous trap, my every thought made real. Fear, desire. How can I ever know for sure I've escaped and not just lost in my own fantasy of it?
Another Easter eggy file found elsewhere in the Bureau records details of the Bright Falls Altered World event, or Bright Falls AWE, which is to say, the event of the game Alan Wake, which took place in Bright Falls. So far, I've said Alan Wake 9 times in this video, and if you thought that was it, then think again, folks. Because along came the Control expansion called AWE, which took the Alan Wake content in Control from Easter egg to full-blown crossover, with the narration for Jessie Faden herself now undertaken by our friend Alan Wake.
It was a distress call. Faden sensed a drowning man.
Whew, 11 times. Oh hey, awake. Just got that.
You know, I want to just say one thing to you, and that's the word interactive. Surely we've been making interactive games for 20 years, haven't we? Or 30 years? Well, no, I don't think we have. Because that thing in our hands, that thing that's evolved in our hands and got more and more complex and got more and more buttons, actually has been the biggest barrier to what we want to create.
Beloved British video game developer Peter Molyneux has a habit of enthusiastically promising exciting, revolutionary features that fail to ever actually materialise in the game.
And I said, and I'm known for these things, I said there's something amazing inside, something life-changing inside.
For example, he promised that in amusement park building strategy games Theme Park, that punters could be injured on your rides and those same punters would show up in the sequel Theme Hospital, which never happened.
Don't you require an inflator room?
He promised that the game Magic Carpet 2 would support 60 players in multiplayer when it released in 1995. It supported 8 players. And he promised that the game Milo and Kate would feature an artificially intelligent little boy who could react to emotions in your voice, interpret your drawings, and learn words using the power of cloud computing.
I hope you agree, this is a landmark in computer entertainment.
To be fair, he could have said this is a game that will actually ever come out, and he'd still have been over-promising. The hugely ambitious Fable series resulted in hugely outlandish promises from Molyneux, including famously that you could plant an acorn and then watch it grow into a mighty oak tree over the course of the game. You couldn't, but you could kick the shit out of some chickens. On balance, probably more fun. By Fable 2, Molyneux's legendary tall tales over the course of his 20-year career were deemed worthy of a cheeky Easter egg in his own game. Head to the graveyard in Fairfax Gardens and you can inspect individual graves and read their inscriptions.
Way!
One of them is a headstone for one PDM, which is a clear reference to Peter Douglas Molyneux. Its inscription is a nod to the sort of hyperbolic promises Molyneux was famous for, reading, "This is possibly the best gravestone ever and will revolutionise the way we look at final resting places forever." Either that's a fun, jokey tribute to the eternally optimistic game director Molyneux from his team of developers, or those same developers were asked at the last minute to program an accurate simulation of the life cycle of an oak tree and left the tombstone in there as some kind of threat. I mean, have you seen what they did to the chickens? Brutal.
Badass.
Capcom is a pretty eclectic publisher with games that let you fight dinosaurs, slay demons, and submit killer whales to legal cross-examination.
Hold it!
With so many big franchises ranging from Resident Evil to Monster Hunter, Capcom games are full of references to each other, but no series does Capcom Easter eggs better than Dead Rising, the zombie series for people who think that Resident Evil doesn't include enough chainsaw motorbikes. The Dead Rising games are full of Easter eggs that reference other Capcom games, from the names of businesses to costumes that you can wear, but our favourite has to be the combo weapon known as the Roaring Thunder. From Dead Rising 2 onwards, when combo weapons were introduced, the Dead Rising games have allowed you to cobble together a combo weapon called the Roaring Thunder that combines a novelty mask of Blanca from Street Fighter with a 12-volt car battery to recreate his famous electric attack.
Wicked.
Of course, you don't want to actually put this on yourself. It goes on the head of zombies, electrifying them and creating chain lightning that will zap other nearby zombies to death as well. Which is never not brilliant. And when you think about it, almost certainly what Blanca would be doing if he were here. Later Dead Rising games leaned into the Street Fighter crossovers even harder, but for our money, nothing beats jamming a Blanca mask on a zombie's head and watching the crowd around them light up like a Christmas tree. Yeah, you can start wrapping up now, Mike, if you want. I'm going to be here a while.
Thank you so much for watching this video about Easter eggs that were references to game makers' previous games. And if you spotted the little version of my face that I hid in there, well done you. Now, your next quest, I think, should be to see if you can find my face in any of the other videos in this playlist. There's quite a few of them, and they're all very similar to this sort of video, but about different topics. So, yeah, see if you can spot my face in those ones. It might take a while to get through them all. Also, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and if you really want to help us out, hit that little bell notification icon to be notified every time we make a video. Thanks for watching, bye!